Hey everyone, it's Sky and welcome back to my channel. I hope that you are feeling wonderful right now and that you are enjoying the more solitary time that we have entered into as we are all spending a bit more time keeping to ourselves and going within. We are about to get to the equinox here in 2020, and right as we go into that equinox, we will also have our favorite planet, Saturn, shifting into a new sign, into Aquarius. So Saturn is changing sign on the day after the equinox. So this year's equinox, going into that double one energy that I've been talking about of the rat year, Aries season, Saturn changing sign into Aquarius, we are all waking up into a very, very new, very almost radical sense of just new person, new personality. Who am I? What am I? We're all kind of beginning anew. This is one of the most potent new beginning energies that many of us will face in our lifetimes, actually. This time of March, April, May of 2020, this is one of the most overturning, revitalizing new leaf transitional energies. And really past the transition. It's not even going to so much be the transition anymore as it is going to be the shore that we reach after the transition. And this is marked first and foremost by the heavy ruler of law, structures, boundaries, anything that is real and material in your life. It is marked by that ruler, Saturn, moving into the same sign of the current millennial age that we are in, which is Aquarius. Get ready for there to be a very big sort of overcoming time, over connection, overwhelm, maybe, and ultimately an ultimatum that comes in, as Saturn in Aquarius does in its early times present us with a bit of a crossroads and also a bit of an ultimatum. And what you see through this crossroads or ultimatum that you might have to deal with during Saturn's transitional time is the truth of whether or not you are placed correctly right now. Have you placed yourself correctly? Do you feel that you are in the right place in life? Do you feel that you have located yourself or physically placed yourself in a place that is harmonious with who you are? Saturn in Aquarius, Saturn in Uranus's sign, who used to be the traditional ruler of Aquarius. Saturn used to be the traditional ruler before Uranus was discovered. So Aquarius is a dignified sign for Saturn to occupy, but it's very picky. This is a very picky Saturn sign. This is a very, sometimes we think of Aquarius as the rebel and the opposition and the contrarian. And it is those things, and there is a part of Saturn that deals a bit with that, actually, when it comes time to reestablish or reset a status quo. What you see personally is that there is not a lot of tolerance for a path that is not right for you, okay? My main thesis of this video is there's not a lot of tolerance for things that aren't right, okay? In fact, Aquarius is a sign, Uranus energy, that sort of electrical Vulcan energy of Uranus, is so empowering for some people. It gives them the energy to electrify their lives, to energize their lives, and create beautiful things, but it can also be destructive, and it can also be with the same type of energy given to a different person can be destructive, but for somebody else it's healing or it's rejuvenating. So we're going to have a bit of an incongruency collectively moving into this time where some people are like really elevated and other people are really like shaken up by things going on right now. One of the most important things to start to get comfortable with, to start to meditate on, to start to journey with is the concept of attachments. Okay, because Saturn deals to some degree with attachments to our personal status quo, our lifestyle, the things that we consider to be necessary or unnecessary in our lives. Saturn deals with those things. So a change in Saturn sign often indicates a time of revaluing what we consider necessary or unnecessary. And specifically when it's moving into Aquarius, this deals a lot with coming past the thought of attachment, okay? And this is one of the most incredible Saturn energy abilities. Again, Saturn is a traditional ruler of Aquarius, so this is very natural in the Saturn energy to, on one hand, know what is necessary, but also not to be inhibited by that at the same time. So Saturn in Aquarius solidifies themes of detachment. Okay, and this is why it can be a tough transit for some people, particularly people who are very sentimental, very attached to a certain lifestyle, very attached to seeing a certain momentum actualized or reached, ambitious to a fault people. Honestly, the people who do well during Saturn and Aquarius are people who are more prone to whims, still yet obviously very loyal to their goals, but not loyal to the fine details of them. Okay, so loyalty will be something that undergoes a bit of a transition for many people over these next 3 years, as this is a long transit of Saturn. It typically spends about 2 years or a bit more in one sign, and the reason why it's long is because it's going to get right into Aquarius, then retrograde back into Capricorn, which I will talk about specifically here in a moment. But yeah, so Saturn in Aquarius, we have to intuitively and collectively be careful about being super attached to our material world or our lifestyle, because one of the glorious things about this transit is a change in lifestyle or a change in your material circumstances that is for the better, okay? And for some people, of course, that can look like maybe, you know, getting a lot of money, getting a great bonus, starting some kind of career that's very lucrative, and of course that has an impact on your lifestyle. Although for other people it can also be the other way around. You know, we might make less, we might see a bit less money with all the other Capricorn placements. And that is not for no reason. Like, there's something within that that is important, because you might actually see also with Saturn and Aquarius is a new, very different philosophy towards money and philosophy towards the material world. Aquarius is similar to the energy of Sagittarius. Jupiter and Uranus have kind of a neat type of coherency where there's a philosophical thing that comes up with Saturn and Aquarius. It's, you know, whether we have a lot or if we feel that we have little or not much, there's something about that that's important. So something reassuring about this transit is that you are where you need to be, okay? It's a very karmic energy, all right? Saturn and Aquarius, one of the most karmic transits during Saturn's 30-year cycle. And why is that? Yes, it's because it's one of Saturn's traditional rulerships. And also it is because Aquarius is a very mature sign. Aquarius is the sign before Pisces, which is the true energy of death, the true energy of complete final endings. So what Aquarius represents in its connection to Saturn energy is going to sort of be a go big or go home type of moment, actually, for a lot of people, where the end is not quite there in their current progression, but they are kind of stepping out into one of maybe the climax moments or one of the most capable moments. If you've been in something for a long time, or if you've been really devoted to something for a long time, this could be the time where you really get most of your success within that. And of course, it is interesting, as I was talking about a moment ago, to clarify, because this might sound contradictory, we are in double one energy when Saturn changes into this sign. So there is, on one hand, this sense of a complete new beginning, complete new footing. But there is also something that we're wielding during this time, whether it be the career or the status or, the family, whatever it is, relationship. Something is also seeing perhaps its most successful point or its most capable point. And for some of us, it's also going to have already left, okay? So sometimes Saturn in Capricorn, which we've had for the last 2.5 years, 3 years, since December of 2017, that is also a strong ending energy, Saturn in Capricorn. It really, really forced us to let go of anything that we didn't need anymore, to focus and really commit and marry the things that we needed to commit to. And it should have solved a lot of commitment issues that we had, okay? The last 2.5 years should have really made us a lot more committed and hopefully showed us how to do things in the above board correct way. And then Saturn in Aquarius does come in. For some people, it does really remove it. Okay, so what we committed to, or what we married, or what we devoted a lot of loyalty to, may actually go away, and then it's about the philosophical sort of recognition of what it was, and maybe the philosophical recognition that the value of that material thing, that relationship or whatever, was not about the materiality of it, was not about the touchability of it. It was about the reactions, okay? Because Aquarius also deals with reactions. It's chemical. It has rulership over chemicals, over alchemy, transmutation, so things that react to each other. This is an Aquarian Uranian principle, so Saturn is there. There will be, again, this is a collective thing, advancements in chemicals, advancements in biological capacity, advancements in technology as well. The technology industry will see a big change over the next 2 years, as Aquarius is the sign of technology. And AI will also see a sort of a new leaf. Again, AI may become more and more important in people's day-to-day functions. Also, this will have an economic impact too, and we're already seeing most likely a recession coming in, as I did predict back in September of 2019 with the Capricorn energy. And Saturn in Aquarius will come in to reinvigorate the markets, reinvigorate the economy, and make it more eccentric and more focused as well, because Aquarius is a fixed sign, so it's about one place. It's not about broad, big picture. Yet it is. You know, Aquarius is a collective energy, but it's fixated on the collective. So it's going to be the big picture of one fixed area. So I do feel that something new may be introduced into the economy, some new sector of the economy, or some new really focused area will help the economy. But I feel that there will be a lot of destruction, perhaps from the past year. And I feel that a lot of people will not be looking to money, okay? Not be looking to money or fiat or currency to find value. And this is going to come most likely from emotional pain as it relates to not having enough. So through a recession, people will start to not value money in the same way. Saturn in Aquarius, again, this is the philosophy of our status quo. This is the philosophy, and the it's not even quite philosophy is not quite the right word. It's the collective recognition that is automatic and instinctual, but not necessarily conscious, of a type of societal factor. That's what Saturn in Aquarius deals with. So I feel that after Saturn in Capricorn, after going through the coronavirus pandemic that we're having right at the time of filming this, after perhaps having many quarantines, after perhaps having not a lot of money or a big type of financial problem, people will see that maybe the money wasn't really ever necessary, okay? People will see that the fiat maybe never really meant anything, okay? And therefore, once fiat comes back in, people are going to treat it differently. And there are going to be new types of value systems that probably emerge. Is this going to be life-changing? Is this going to be something that, you know, people look back to the year 2020 and say, yes, that's when, you know, humans stopped having that same connection to money? No, because we have all of this Capricorn energy, which deals with finding value in things outside of ourselves, finding value in some type of collective, societal, public place. So people aren't going to stop finding value outside of themselves, but I feel that money is not going to be the same source of value that it used to be. And I feel that when things start to straighten out, which I do think that they will, and when the economy starts to get back into its own sense of normal, which I hope that it will, Saturn in Aquarius, being the Saturn energy of that time, will blunt it in a way. Okay, so here's just an intuitive channeling. Something about themes of money for each person, themes of economy for each person, themes of value outside of each person's self, something has ended there, okay? And will stand to end by the time Saturn transits through Pisces and then into Aries over the next 7 or 8 years. So the next decade, this is a long-term message, people will never quite look at money the same way. And I also feel that in the same heights will never be reached again. Okay, that's a tough one. The same heights will never be reached again, to a degree, as before this all happened. And there's going to be sort of a wake-up call. Saturn in Aquarius really slaps some people awake, and then Saturn in Pisces comes in and everybody goes to sleep, and things never come back after Saturn in Pisces. Certain things never come back, and this might seem a little bit precarious or worrisome, but it's really not, because again, this is dignified. The energy of Saturn in this area is dignified. So this is happening with reason. This is happening with a type of there's a formula here. That's another thing, the way that you can look at Saturn in Aquarius. It's really like a math problem. It's like an equation, and there's only one answer. It's like if you spend all of the money, the money's now gone. If you have $80 and you spend $80, you have $0 left. With having had Jupiter in Sagittarius, Saturn in Sagittarius not too long ago, before it was in Capricorn in 2016 and 17. We had a lot of maybe creative formulating. We had a lot of creative formulating, where, 80 plus 20 might have equaled 400,590. There was a lot of that type of thing. But here with Saturn in Aquarius, Saturn in Capricorn would have prepared the stage. We would have gotten a lot of wake-up calls, and then the real wake-up call comes in Saturn in Aquarius, and now it's like, 80 plus 20 equals 100, and that's just that. What I've also noticed with Saturn in Aquarius coming on is there's like I was talking about reactions a second ago. So, we are seeing something very suddenly about appropriate reactions, okay? Like, for example, oh no, I've cut myself on accident while I was, chopping vegetables or something. That's bleeding. What's my reaction to that? Is my reaction to keep chopping? Or is my reaction to put on a Band-Aid, right? You got to put on the Band-Aid. It's kind of like with the coronavirus pandemic as well. There's this sort of mystery novel virus that we know nothing about. Is the appropriate reaction to go to the super glamorous spring break vacation in the most disease-ridden county of the East Coast? Is that really right? No, of course that's not right. You got to stay indoors, right? That's what makes sense. And you can kind of see with Saturn and Aquarius coming in and people realizing that that's changing up. Like, you know what? Maybe that is right. Maybe even though there's a coronavirus out, maybe now I really want to go to that crowded music festival when I would have never even gone if it weren't for the coronavirus. There's sort of a rebellious streak. This is the negative of Saturn and Aquarius. There aren't many, but this is one of them, where people are kind of like, I never really wanted to leave the house anyway, but now that there's a virus out, this is the time for me to stock up. This is the time for me to be out at the grocery store. I'm going to probably, you might actually see that subconsciously, this won't be for everybody, but for some people, you've probably left the house and been in crowds way more since the announcement of the coronavirus than you had prior. Why? Why is that the case? We've got to wake up here. This is a wake-up call. Are we that connected to reverse psychology? Saturn and Aquarius, reverse psychology. That's an interesting thing to think about, where it's almost like without even knowing about the coronavirus, I wouldn't have been out much. But with it in mind, I think I will just book those tickets, or I think that I will, fly off somewhere, or I think that I will, go and buy every piece of toilet paper on the rack. How crazy, how insane. And I don't know what relevance this will have. Obviously, this video about Saturn and Aquarius is going to be valid from 2020 to 2023. If you see in the description box, I have a write-up talking about the details of this transit. And it's in effect from March 21st, 2020 to March 7th, 2023, okay? 3 years. If you're watching this in 2022, 2023, I can't say whether the coronavirus will even still be something relevant that we remember or not. I can't say for sure. But it will nonetheless be a good reminder of how people were. And if we're watching this from a long time in the future, I kind of want to say, do you remember how people were during the coronavirus? Buying all of the toilet paper. Why is toilet paper the only thing gone from the store? Do people not think that they need food? If people are going to stock up on something, like it's madness, and there's a sense of reverse psychology psychology to it. There's a sense of like, now that there is a virus, I'm going to go and pose a threat to society. And, there's also the issue of like, why are the stores, the outlets, not having enough to, maybe the outlets are very, they don't have enough toilet paper in stock, whatever it is. But it's weird. This is kind of an Aquarian thing. So it's not really what you expect. It's not good to expect. And that's why Saturn in Aquarius, despite being a traditional ruler, it's a hard energy for some people to really get their head around, because there is something unexpected in this archetype of Saturn, which is a very tried and true traditional status quo energy. And why is it dignified in Aquarius? It's because it's like a key fitting into a lock. It's like, this is just what the energy of Saturn needs. It's just something a little bit different than it, It's dignified traditionally. And please, one thing to really watch out for, okay, if you're listening to this, especially, right when it's coming out, right around the time that Saturn's going into Aquarius, really watch out for how you emotionally relate to other people. This emotional intelligence with Saturn in Aquarius can start to deplete a little bit. Again, this is one of the only other negatives of it, or potential negatives, is that people might struggle to relate to each other. People might try to cause problems for other people without realizing it. I've already seen this just a little bit, especially for any of you out there who are, running your own business, or, making contacts with a lot of people who maybe you don't know well, or selling to a lot of different people. You can actually see that people might try to undermine it, and you want to be prepared. You might want to have good insurance during this time. You might want to make sure that all of your paperwork is in good shape, all of your taxes are in good shape, things like that. We've just come from Saturn in Capricorn, which was the optimum opportunity to get all of the legalities, taxes, disclaimers, things like that in order. Because what you can see is that people might kind of try to take you for a ride too. People get really disconnected from what other people are going for. So for example, especially with some of the economic issues, you could have somebody try to steal from you. You could have somebody try to get things that you sell for free. You could have somebody, even unknowingly, and this is the crazy thing about Saturn in Aquarius, and I'm tapping on my temple, if only you guys could see. The crazy thing is, like, people won't really realize that what they're doing is wrong either, so they might unknowingly just kind of like take something from your store and not even purchase it. Again, I'm really feeling for business owners, store owners, that you might have a lot of shoplifting, or a lot of chargeback fraud, anything like that. Even like vendors, you got to watch out for vendors overcharging you or undercharging for your goods, things like that, because Saturn in Aquarius does deal with markets as well. It deals with especially automated or technological markets, things like that. So if you deal in any of those areas, you got to really have things like tuned up and like in a good motion. A great time to like hire an assistant or that new employee or somebody who knows about this type of thing, that new marketing expert, to really package or brand yourself up well. Saturn in Aquarius, the perfect time to do a branding project, again, if you're an entrepreneur or something. And not the best time to be stuck in the past with everything, okay? So Aquarius is the least past-oriented sign of the zodiac. Least past-oriented. So yeah, new ideas, new visions. Not real, and this is the tough one to really take sometimes. So this is not actually the time to do that thing you've been wanting to do forever, okay? Those things can be innovated, right? Beautiful to innovate an old idea, to innovate something that you were thinking of for a long time, and to the degree that when you put it out or when you do it or when you tackle that goal, it's coming out in a way that you didn't quite anticipate it to. That's a cool thing about Saturn and Aquarius. It can do that. But if you've had something on the back burner forever, the more natural thing to do right now is to actually release that and see if it finds you anyway. Because there is an interesting confrontation with destiny and fate over the next 5 to 7 years. As we have Saturn in Aquarius, then Saturn in Pisces, then moving into Saturn in Aries. This is always a chapter of humanity that comes with a lot of like wow moments, like, the destiny, the sense of fate. Those things are on the table, really starting with Saturn in Aquarius. So it's very interesting to think about, and it's food for thought for everyone. So let's talk a little bit more mundane for a moment about what we might expect with this transit. So yes, March 21st, 2020, we are going to have Saturn moving into Aquarius. This is right after the equinox. And on May 10th, 2020, not even quite a full 2 months after it goes into Aquarius, it's going to retrograde. Saturn's going to retrograde at 2 degrees Aquarius. And it's going to move back all the way to 26 degrees Capricorn until September 28th of 2020. So from May to September of 2020, we will have Saturn in Capricorn again, or at least moving towards Capricorn. I don't know the exact date that it goes back into Capricorn. I will put that below in the description box, though, once I upload this. But and that was one of the reasons why I haven't made a Saturn in Aquarius video yet, is because I was thinking about waiting and actually until it went back into Aquarius on September 28th of 2020, because what's going to happen is Saturn's going to get into Aquarius, and from March 20th to May 9th, we're going to feel that, and that's going to really change things up. But what's going to happen is it's like Pluto from, back towards the end of Capricorn is going to say, Saturn, come back, I want to tell you a secret. And Saturn's going to retrograde back and come back to meet Pluto in Capricorn. So we aren't really ready for it, is the thing. And I want you to sit with that. This is sort of maybe a more simple message to get our heads around is by March 20th, 2020, what do we not feel ready for? What are all those things in our lives that are like, I can't let go of that, or I can't stop that, or I can't get away from this, or I can't wrap my head around what this signifies in my life? Those things need to be thought about, because we're going to get sort of a dose or an injection between March and May of 2020 of how we can do it, of how we can move on, of how we can reinvigorate and revitalize and rejuvenate our cells. When you really get down to it, our cells, cells, the cells of our body, there's like a rejuvenation, revitalization, cell turnover with Saturn in Aquarius. Most definitely, that's a beautiful thing. Physical health can be really good with Saturn in Aquarius. That's another mundane message. Great time to heal from an illness. Great time to heal a health problem that has been occult for a long time. So occult health problems can come to light. If you've not been knowing what's wrong with you, or things have just been feeling kind of off or not right, but you've never been able to put your finger on what it is, here over this time of Saturn in Aquarius, it will most likely just resolve. But also it's a great time to have a treatment, okay? Great time. Not that there's ever a great time for this, but one of the more prominent times to have some kind of treatment, okay? So like if you had to have like a chemotherapy or a surgery or something that requires a lot of medical intervention, don't fear that, because some people will have that come up during this time. But it's one of the most dignified times not that there's ever a dignified time to have to go through that, but there's way worse times to have to go through it astrologically. And here is a time to maybe meet that halfway and say, okay, I want to take the first step with my health, maybe get the blood work done, okay? If I've not been feeling right, maybe it's time to go in for the examination. Saturn in Aquarius deals a lot with the health and medical industry too, with how technological it's become. Most of the health industry relies on technology and relies on scanners or computers or markers or microscopes, things like that. All of those are ruled by the sign Aquarius. So therefore, we can conclude that this time is good with Saturn, which deals with stability, true strength, true resolve, true endurance. Mixing that with the Aquarius energy says to me a good time to heal, a good time to solve health problems. Another thing that I'll touch on with Saturn in Aquarius is going to be a change in personal boundaries. So the boundaries that we've had for a long time, or the walls that we've built up for a long time around ourselves, those will be submitted to some renovations, perhaps. Some of us may become more people, so we might become more social with this transit, or some of us may become more introverted. It's very likely, if you've been extroverted for a long time, that you might want more solitude now, and vice versa. Again, Saturn in Aquarius, it changes the philosophy a bit on how you connect with other people, Again, we are also in a rat year with the first year of Saturn in Aquarius. So I do feel that there's a lot of connection to be had Again, it's quite small. It's like ants moving around and helping each other. I sense that teamwork is vital to some degree this year in 2020, and with Saturn and Aquarius in general. Okay, this is a light bulb for me. I never thought about this, but this is dealing a lot with teamwork and dealing a lot with relying on other people healthily. So this transit of Saturn in Aquarius is going to teach us how to rely healthily, okay, how to accept help, and also to know when we need to do things on our own too. But I feel that there are a lot of wounds within us. We have many wounds that deal with not knowing when to accept help healthily. Maybe we really feel like we need to be helped in this one way, and it's really the last way that we need to be helped is somewhere else, for example, the business owner, the successful business owner, let's say, wants to hire an entirely new staff when in reality they just need to go have a doctor's examination, or they need to go and talk to a therapist, but they're saying, okay, I need to hire a new staff, and it's all concentrating there. What a great time to have that like snapping wake up moment. Again, you're the successful business person. It's like, wait, I don't need a new staff. I need to talk to a therapist. There can be a lot of those moments like, wow, I've been fooling myself for a long time. Or wow, I didn't realize that, this addiction that I've had, or this, let's just say this shopping addiction that I've had, all this money I've been spending, that whole time I just needed to, go on a date or something. That whole time I just needed to talk to somebody in public. But I spent, hundreds of thousands of dollars over the last 10 years because I never even realized that I just needed to talk to somebody. There's a lot of that type of thing with Saturn and Aquarius, where we realize that these things that we've contributed so much time, money, or energy to, that's what Saturn rules, time, money, and energy, and how they all are on the same energetic line. The things that we spend in life, this is a Saturn and to a lesser degree Pluto energy. And we might really see with Saturn and Aquarius, like, wow, I spent so much just because I wouldn't give myself something very easy, okay? So it's kind of like, if you're talking to a toddler or something, it's like, are we going to have this the easy way or the hard way? That's sort of what this Saturn placement is like. It might sort of be talking to all of us as if we were toddlers, and it might sort of say, are we going to do this the easy way or are we going to do this the hard way? We have a choice, again, ultimatum, Saturn and Aquarius, anyway, everyone, that's kind of feeling like a natural place to leave off today. I wanted to thank you so much for being here on my channel, and I hope that you are all choosing the way that makes sense and allowing yourself to continue as well with things that are working out for you. It's a great time to make a judgment on your own life and say what's working out, what's not working out. Am I okay with this? Am I okay with that? It's just a great time to sort of get a roll call of everything that is needing energy in your life. And if you're new to my channel, be sure to hit that red subscribe button below, as well as hit the like button so that YouTube will get this video out there. Every single like is so helpful. I know it seems like a small thing, but that's really one of the main ways that YouTube gauges the algorithm. So just that thumbs up button below, if you could hit it, like 1, 2, 3, hit it, it would make my day. And if you want to see more, I will link some playlists below. I have an Ascendant series here on YouTube. I have a Moon series. I have Venus as well, where I talk about this Ascendant, Moon, and Venus all throughout the different signs. And I have that all linked below. And yes, I also have an ebook called Moon Symbols, an astrological guide to healing your moon. So if you've been looking for some emotional healing, some more understanding on your moon placement in astrology, or to understand people around you based on their moon sign, you can check out that ebook below. It's only $9.99 on Amazon. And, during this time of, economic hardship, I so appreciate any, mutual benefit that we can have. Creators are struggling right now. And as a person who derives their well-being from creativity myself, it's just so wonderful to know that I can give you guys something and that we can still keep this going. And if you wanted to support my channel, I have a Patreon page, or you can pick up my ebook, and if you don't have any extra to spend, that's totally fine too. Just hit that like button and that subscribe button. At the end of the day, that's so great. And thank you guys so much. I hope that you're doing wonderful. We'll be talking soon. Much love, everyone. Good luck with Saturn in Aquarius. I love it. Bye.